We will be starting here shortly, guys. The way that I was going to watch Friday the 13th Part 2 is no longer on Paramount Plus. Shocking. So I gotta go and dig out the Blu-rays, so I'll be right back. One second, guys. I am now firing up my Blu-ray because I had to go dig it out because for some reason Paramount Plus doesn't have Friday the 13th anymore. Yes, Paramount Plus. The struggle is real. I'll be right back. All right, let's get this show on the road. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome to the stream. I'm sorry it took me so long. Like I said, Paramount Plus, the way that I was going to watch this because I didn't feel like digging out my box set, which is buried behind like 4 walls of movies, So I had to go really quick, dig this dang movie out. So yeah, screw Paramount Plus for that. I don't know why the hell they don't have this movie on there. They did like 3 weeks ago. They had all of them on there, and it's freaking Paramount. So why Paramount doesn't have these movies, I don't know. But I did go dig out Friday the 13th Part 2. Tonight's film is that Friday the 13th Part 2. We're going to be checking it out here live. We're going to be just chilling and watching. We're just going to be chilling and watching some Friday the 13th. So we got Grande here. What's up, Grande? How you doing? Trenchy, everybody saying hi. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a countdown from 5, and we're going to go ahead and press play right now. I'm at the Paramount logo. And yeah, tonight we're just going to be watching Friday the 13th, Part 2. What's up, Ian? Yes, The Body Count Continues. One of the best sequels ever made, in my opinion. So we're going to be counting down. Everybody get your Friday the 13th Part 2s fired up. And we're going to be starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Now, Friday the 13th Part 2 is one of my favorite sequels. I really do enjoy this film a lot. Yeah, I know, man. It was available on Paramount Plus. That was how I was going to watch it. It might be on Tubi, but I'm not sure. I had to go dig out my box set because I just was so mad. I was like, oh, okay, time to go. Can't find it anywhere. And I didn't want to go dig out this box set because it's buried underneath like 4 walls of movies. So now I got to go put all those back up whenever I'm done with this. So yeah, screw you, Paramount Plus. I don't know what what the hell y'all are thinking with taking these movies off. But nevertheless, we're watching Friday the 13th Part 2, one of my personal favorite slasher films, one of my personal favorite sequels, and I think is one of the better Friday the 13th films. What's up? How you doing, Sasha? But yeah, I think this is a great follow-up to the first movie. Of course, a couple weeks back, maybe a few weeks back at this point, me and Mac and I think Trenchy, where we were all watching the first Friday the 13th. I think Hayden stopped by for that as well. So we're all chilling and watching Part 1. And right now we're watching Part 2. And Part 1, I still say, is one of the more underappreciated films, especially slasher films. I don't understand why that movie gets so forgotten. But this movie has a very big fan base, and I think everybody was on the same level of saying that this followed up the first movie, took the formula, and did it even better. I do think this is better than the first movie. I think it's a big step up. First of all, you got Jason coming into the sequel. You got a cool look for Jason, which is my favorite look, which is the bag head Jason. Great idea of having Jason come back and be the killer, which was, I know a lot of people just watched the 5th film in 2 months. What'd you check out, Sasha? But I know a lot of people were against the sequel, were highly against it. Nobody really wanted to see this movie get made. Against all odds, they went out and did it very cheap and very fast, and it ended up being another big hit for Paramount. But yeah, this is this time period for slasher films. I mean, 1981. 1981. What a great year for slasher films. I mean, you had The Burning, My Bloody Valentine, Halloween 2 came out that year. You had just an insane amount of slasher films coming out around this time. And there's just a lot of good ones. This is definitely the time where slasher films were blowing up. They weren't being overkill at this point. Towards the late 80s, slasher films were kind of getting to the point to where it was just being overdone way too much. And even I can admit that even though I love slasher films, towards the end of the 80s, it was done. You know, towards the end, you had Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, which I like. I enjoy, but I don't enjoy as much as the others. You get Halloween 5, which I really do enjoy that movie, but it has a lot of problems. We have a lot of slasher films coming out that just were completely cut to pieces and weren't doing well, and it was definitely the time for a transition in horror. And I feel like Friday the 13th Part 2, why it's one of my favorite slasher films, is one of the big key reasons is Steve Miner. I think Steve Miner come in to direct this film and directing Part 3. His style is really, really noticeable in this film, and he takes a lot of different steps. He's similar to Sean S. Cunningham, but he's not totally a rip off of Sean S. Cunningham. He's kind of doing his own style and doing his own thing, adding a lot of humor to his films. And I also, again, I love the way these movies are shot. These first 5 movies have great atmospheres, and just the way it was done in an actual camp during the actual summer, shot on location, not behind a green screen or on a set somewhere, gives the movies, the first 5, great atmospheres. I like part 6's atmosphere, but it's a bit of a different story, you know. I won't be able to add anything at all to this conversation as I've never seen any Friday the 13th films. I mean, I would check them out, man. I mean, if you get a chance. I feel like Sasha hates the movies I talk about. It's like every movie I review, it's like it's like I have nothing to add to this. This sounds horrible. This sounds awful. It's like Sasha's way over here when he's watching movies, and I'm way off to the left. It's like two different ends of the spectrum. You always add something, if you mean to or not. In a way, yeah, because you're an outside point of view, so you give a fresh opinion on these things. You know, which is why I say, Sasha, you need to watch Night of the Living Dead with us because you give us a fresh new look on it. But I understand, man. But yeah, I mean, this film, you got a great cast. Amy Steele as the lead. I'm not a big fan of how they kill off Adrian King at the beginning. It never really bothered me as a kid, but now that I've grown up, you know, it's I don't know. Adrian King's one of my favorite leads from the series, so it is a shame that she gets killed off in the first like 10 minutes of the movie. So that sucks. But at least we got Amy Steele coming in. Amy Steele is a great lead as well. She's a great actress. And this Blu-ray has a lot of the old features plus the new features. This box set has so much features. I still haven't even watched them all yet, and I've had it for quite a while. So if you're a big fan of the series, I mean, it's still relatively cheap. I recommend it for sure. But at this point with Jason, obviously they had no clue that Jason was going to blow up and become this big sensation. He was going to become this icon of the 80s. And at this point, nobody knew that. It was just going to be the next killer. And he doesn't even have the hockey mask in this movie. And he looks a lot different. He got this hillbilly look to him, which I like the growth of Jason through the franchise. I like how Jason is constantly evolving in his look and design of the character. I like how Jason goes from the bag head to the hockey mask, from human to zombie, from zombie to Uber Jason in part 10, or hell, a demon worm in part 9, which I feel like I'm not really, this isn't really a commentary. This is me watching it, y'all watching it. Let's hang out and watch it. I'm not really thinking this is a commentary. But when we get the part 9's watch along, that's going to be quite the controversy because I know a lot of people hate part 9. I love it. I love everything about it. I love how different it is. It's kind of like part 5 where I love the good things. I love the bad things. What's up, Kelly? How you doing? What's up, Sean? Dang, okay, we got some people here. But yeah, I love the bad things and the good things. It's, part 9 is just so much fun. It's too fun for me to sit here and say, hey, it's just It's just as long as the movie's fun, you know, that's all that really matters to me, man. But this film had quite the tall order to follow, though. I mean, in a way, because the first movie was such a big, massive hit, and it outbeat Empire Strikes Back, it outbeat The Shining. Those are no small feats. Those are big, big studio films. And for this to come along and ironically do the bare minimum that a sequel should do. Like this movie doesn't have explosions except for the opening credits, that's an explosion. But it doesn't have like the Aliens approach where hey, we're going to completely outdo the first one. In all honesty, it's following a very similar formula to the first movie. And it really only focuses on trying to increase the body count and be more creative with the kills. And that's honestly why Friday the 13th is so hard to mess up because the formula they designed for the series, whether it was intentional or not, is very hard to mess up. I mean, it's very easy. You just got to make sure it's got some gore, got some kills. You got some horny people going out into the freaking camps and going out to the lake and boobs, blood, and mayhem, as Grande says. You just gotta have a very simple formula for Friday the 13th. I mean, it's not very hard to make a halfway decent Friday the 13th film. Nick, what's up, man? How you doing? I hope all is well. Welcome. We're just watching Friday the 13th Part 2 right now, just chilling out on this great Friday night. Barely made it this Friday night, but it is a Friday night nevertheless. So we are watching Friday the 13th Part 2. Yeah, I am wondering, Sasha, if you brung it up, you might as well tell us. Like, you already brung up the fact that you watched a movie. It's like, you might as well tell us. I don't know. Is this you don't want to say? Was it the Care Bears film? It's okay if it was Care Bears, man. But yeah, I think that this film does a lot of things right, even though it is a very similar formula, which is why I don't think that just because a film is almost the same as the original means it's instantly a bad film. I think it can go each way of being good. I think a film can be very different but bad, in my opinion, aka Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, or a film can copy and do things in a very similar way and be bad. Which to me, when I think of that, I don't know why, but Lost Boys the Tribe is popping up in my head. Have y'all ever seen that? Lost Boys the Tribe? It's pretty much the same story as the first one, but done in a less cool way. But I can't really. There's been plenty of them, though, where it's just like copy and paste. People say the same thing about Halloween 2, which came out the same year. But I love Halloween 2. I think that's a great, great film. Oh, thank you, Sean. Yeah, it's one of my favorite films to watch. I actually seen this movie not too long ago. I watched it like a month or two ago. So it's pretty I'm not going to forget this one for a while. It's, rewatching it again. This is just one of those films that out of the blue I can just start watching. This and part 5, part 1. Those are definitely the big ones that I can just start watching out of nowhere. Just turn them on, Just they're very chill movies. They're equally creepy and relaxing. They're atmospheres of the camp and the forest with how they're shot. It can be very cool and relaxing and chill to watch, but then it can also be very creepy. And man, I wish they would make a new Jason movie. I know they got that show coming out, but I'm really wanting to watch a new Jason film so bad because there's so many movies coming out right now, like Scream, and there's rumors there's a new Nightmare on Elm Street coming out. Today we had some news about Saw 10 and Exorcist Believer, which the Saw 10 news is very questionable, and that's coming from a guy who's very soft on the Saw movies. Like, I like the Saw movies. I'm a fan. I'm a bigger fan than most people are. I don't know, man. We got some Trenchy and Sasha in the chat over here saying that I'm losing interest. I don't understand, man. But we'll talk about Saw. Yeah, Saw. As far as the franchise goes, I like the franchise, and Spiral I didn't hate. So I'm still over here thinking that Saw's decent, but the plot line I heard for Saw 10, I think it's just like, okay, this movie's got to have at least some good kills and gore. At least. If it doesn't, we're in trouble, ladies and gentlemen, because the story is stupid. But here's the thing. The story can be stupid as long as it has gore and kills, and I don't know who's directing it, but as long as it has a style to it, and as long as the twist is decent. If it has those things, I won't hate this new Saw movie. Even though the plot is very, very stupid. But the plot is the only thing that I'm like, okay, what's going on here? But everything else sounds like it can be at least halfway watchable. Um, but yeah, Exorcist Believer, that's also been having some pictures shown and having some news. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the horror realm right now. But yeah, I'm still wanting a Friday the 13th. I still want a new Jason movie. It's been too long. I mean, I seen the last one in theaters, which was pretty cool. It was cool seeing the remake in the theater, even though I barely remember it. But I do remember that day because I went and got a Cactus Jack figure. So, yeah, it's always cool that it's always cool to go catch these movies while they're in theaters. Because here's an example of a film series that hasn't done anything since. And it's just like, man, we're all so hungry. We're just so hungry for Friday the 13th. Don't call yourself stupid. A potato. Why'd you call yourself a potato? I think we always gotta chill and watch a Friday the 13th, y'all. Like this is Friday. See, this is Friday the 13th. Just hang out, But yeah, I mean, there's even right here a very similar shot of the truck driving to the camp. And I think another thing about this movie that really helps it is the actors and the cast. I really like this cast. I like the character of Paul, like Jenny. I like the Stu Charno character. He's like this clown, this jokester guy. I think he's pretty funny. The asshole of the group who gets hung upside down. The chick with the Mickey Mouse top. Of course, you have Mark, who's the crippled guy, and he has one of the most brutal kills in the film. But yeah, I do feel like these movies, they're just very well shot. I love the atmosphere of them. They really get you in the mood to go out. Hey, like you watch this movie, like, hey, I want to go chill at a lake right now. Shit, it's spring out. Let's go fucking chill, or it's summer. Let's go chill at a lake or something. They really do look very well lit and they're very well shot. I think Steve Miner is a good director. I like Lake Placid a lot. I like, of course, Part 3 in 3D. I like that film. The only films I'm not really the biggest fan of with Steve Miner is Halloween H2O, and I'm not a fan of Day of the Dead, but everything else I pretty much like. I like how they just so happen to find a Camp Crystal Lake sign just on the ground. Why is that? And why is the sign gone? Like, I kind of wonder, because technically speaking, it takes place near Crystal Lake, but it doesn't take place at Camp Crystal Lake. It's at a different camp in this movie, which is very interesting how the sequels they take place on Crystal Lake, but not at Camp Crystal Lake. And that even starts in this film. But yeah, I think the characters really help it. The acting isn't too bad. It's not Oscar worthy or anything, but it's not horrible. It's really competently made. It's got funny moments, interesting moments. I even like the way that the cabins and the houses and the buildings look in this film. Everything has a very unique design to it. And the video game did a damn good job at replicating the look of the camp. I mean, it's just crazy watching this right now after playing the game for so long. I'm like, oh, I know that area. I know that area over there. You know, it's just they really did a good job at studying the layout of the camp and putting it in the games. Um, Harry Manfredini coming back once again, do the score in this film. I love his score. I think his score for these films are very unique and different, and very much to Friday the 13th. And I've heard him score other things, and it literally just sounds like Friday the 13th. I don't know. He just every time I hear that score, I think of Friday the 13th, and it really matches. But when it's done on other films, it's very noticeable. But yeah, this film came out the very next year. It was a very fast production. Obviously, they were looking to have this be a big success as well. And I mean, every film at this time was trying to be the next Friday the 13th. Um, because even though Halloween did get ripped off by Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th laid down a formula that it's about the blood, the gore, the kills, how creative and how over the top can the kills be. And so the Burning tried to top that. Sleepaway Camp tried to do that, where they would just make these movies about summer camps and try to outdo Friday the 13th. And so this film, I mean, at this time, there was so much competition. I mean, there was so many slasher films coming out and being made that, you know, this film had to go up against all of them and Halloween too. And I do kind of wonder if at this time, horror films were just some of the more popular movies in the market because I mean, I could just think of just in 1981, there's just so many good horror films that came out in 1981. Like, I believe Possession came out in 1981 or 1980, but I'm actually going to look up here real quick. It's like, yeah, Evil Dead came out in 81, Scanners, Halloween 2, Madhouse, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard good things of. The Fun House, American Werewolf in London, My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, man, what a great year. The Prowler, which I do like. The Prowler's pretty good. The Beyond, great film. Galaxy of Terror, great film. Yeah. So there's a lot of competition in 1981 for Friday the 13th Part 2. And it still made a lot of money. So that's always cool. But yeah, I mean, some of my favorite moments are from this film. The ending, which has become a very classic scene where Jenny talks down Jason. You know, she's wearing the sweater and she gets into his head and about to kill him, but he snaps out of it. Very iconic scene. Very well done. Steve Dash playing Jason in this film, which I think he does a great job at playing Jason. I know for a while him and Warrington Gillette were having a lot of issues because Warrington Gillette was saying how, oh, I played Jason through the whole film. When in reality, Warrington Gillette only played Jason in one scene. And he couldn't even like do the stunt right. He had to get like a harness hooked up to him. Because the whole stunt was him going through a window. And he couldn't do it. So they had to put this harness on him and push him to the window, basically. So Steve Dash, I know was for a long time not getting the credit he deserved, but after a while he did. He even went up to Warrington Gillette and was like, "Hey, you're not Jason. You're taking my credit," you know. And basically, Warrington Gillette disappeared from conventions. He might be popping up back again. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he came back to doing like conventions and stuff like that. But unfortunately, I do think Steve Dash passed away, which is really sad. I think he did. So if he did, rest in peace to Warrington Gillette. And here we are at the first classic scene. I love this scene right here, the campfire, where Paul is telling everybody the legend of Jason Voorhees, and I really think it's well done. And yeah, I mean, it's just a very well done scene. Looks great here in Blu-ray. Seeing this movie in HD, it does help. It's looks good in Blu-ray. But yeah, this is a great scene where he's kind of explaining what happened. It's like, okay, what happened with Jason? It's like, how did Jason survive? And he's telling how Jason basically didn't drown. He saw his mom get decapitated. Which I do kind of wonder, when did he drown? If you really think about it, when did he drown? Because she was killing people in the 50s. And so I'm assuming that's when Jason drowned, in the 50s. Then the first one takes place in the 80s or the 70s. It has to be at least the 70s. And if Jason was a kid and saw his mom get killed in the first movie, how old is he in this movie? Because this is only 5 years later. And if he did drown and die in the first one, then he's a zombie, right? And if he didn't die, where was he? Lost in the woods? I guess you could say that. Which I guess that new Jason prequel show is going to be explaining the answers to that. It's like, what happened between part 1 and part 2? How did Jason get to where he is in part 2? Which I know a lot of people are roasting that. They don't want it to happen. Me, I'm curious because I always did wonder where he was, what he was doing. Did he survive, or is he a zombie? Or is he a human? Like, what happened with Jason in between parts 1 and 2? And so I'm curious about it. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Although I don't like how most of the posters and stuff so far have been having the hockey mask on it, even though they're not going to have the hockey mask in the show. So that's a bad sign. But I'm looking forward to it. It's interesting. I want to see a trailer first. Obviously, you got to wait to see a trailer, and we'll see how that looks. But as of right now, let's just say I'm interested in it. And we're pulling double duty tonight, man. Me and Trench, big shout out to him. Thank you so much for being a part of that show. We're watching the Ninja Turtle. Well, we were talking about the Ninja Turtle trilogy. And this is sort of like the bonus stream, I guess you could say, which I already had this planned, but I wanted to also talk about those films because I've never done a video on them before. And so that was a lot of fun. So it's been a busy day, and tomorrow, hopefully, crossing my fingers, if everything goes right, we will be live watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, which is one of my other favorite horror film sequels of all time. And then on Sunday, if all goes well, it'll be the return of Sunday Night Insomnia. So that's very exciting. We'll see. Like I said, my weekends get so crazy sometimes. I get so busy that I just lose track of everything and I'm not able to do certain things. So if I can't, I apologize. But the plan is for tomorrow, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 watch along. You can find that on, I think, Tubi. You can find it on Shudder. I mean, I'll check in a while, but I'm pretty sure you can find it pretty much anywhere that horror films are. So That'll be a lot of fun. I love that movie. And then Sunday Night Insomnia will be crazy because it always is. So that'll be happening this weekend. Got a lot of stuff going on. Got a lot of stuff planned. So definitely stay tuned. Look at the old school Coca-Cola machine in the background. Wow, so vintage. Very, very like vintage. Whenever you watch these old school movies, seeing all the Coca-Cola machines and seeing how McDonald's looked back then, or Taco Bell, or just how we know them now, but looking back and seeing them in these earlier films, it's very like eye-opening. Like, wow, it's just such a different design. It's always cool going back and seeing all the designs and stuff for the old school restaurants and companies and stuff like that. But very weird here. We have Ralph just sneaking around outside. I don't understand like what he's trying to do. He's like stalking Jenny. It's like, are you gonna warn her? Like, or what are you doing? Like, why are you sneaking around the camp? Crazy Ralph. What are you doing? But yeah, also the step up with the kills in these films. The kills are a much bigger improvement in this film. The kills in the first one, you have some awesome ones, like the axe to the face, the arrow to the neck. But this one, you got a machete to the face. You got right here Ralph being killed by barbed wire and it like slicing his throat. You got throat slits, a guy getting a machete just smacked into his face. Just smacked into his face. You also have a double kill with the spear, which is pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of great death scenes in this film. So the body count definitely did get upgraded in this film. And I would say that as a follow-up, it is decent. It strays away from some of the things that they set up in the first movie a little bit. Because in the first movie, they say that Jason's pretty much dead. That there is no Jason out there. He's just... Oh, Ralph is great. Don't disrespect Ralph. Ralph is awesome. Ralph is the first ever Prophet of Doom. I like this little thing right here. Beware of bears that Paul wrote on the mirror. And I think too, what really helps that these characters, they're not boring. They're pretty funny, and you buy that they're all friends. Like right here, they're all jogging. He's like, "Hey, what's going on, man? Why are you slowing down?" And he just gets flipped off. He's like, "Hey." It's fun stuff like that, or Stu Charno playing jokes on people, just regular antics from these films. But the characters, they're not one-dimensional to me, at least. They're not like great characters. I'm not crying when they get killed. But for disposable teens, we're disposable teens. We're disposable teens. Shout out to that song. It's a very, very good song. But so all these characters, they're very likable. They're very you definitely believe that they're all friends. And yeah, it's not bad. Not bad characters. And this dog, I'm wondering, this dog gets obviously killed later on in this film. Sorry, Sasha, it does. But this dog gets killed right here. It's dead. Somehow pops up later in this film. I'm I'm assuming it's a dream where the dog is. But at the same time, it can't be a dream. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. This dog should be dead. It's found dead later on, like very dead. So I don't know why it pops up later on in the film. But with the new Jason movie, I have been hearing that the ideas are it's more of Jason in the snow, and so it'll be Jason people ice skating, Christmas themed, which I think is different enough. I wouldn't mind seeing Jason set in the snow. I know there's that short film, that fan film, Never Hike in the Snow. I didn't see it yet. I liked Never Hike Alone, but the filmmakers, I don't know. They tend to go off on people because of their opinions, which I don't understand. What scene am I at? I am at the scene where it's kind of hard to describe. So the two teens, they're on their way to Camp Crystal Lake. They're gonna get in trouble by the sheriff guy. Is gonna talk to Paul about them and be like, "Why aren't you watching them?" But my timestamp is 35 minutes. We're already almost halfway through this movie already, which is pretty crazy. But I know that the people that made Never Hike in the Snow, they tend to go off on people who don't like their films. So, and I've seen it, and there's been like evidence of them going off on people like you don't understand and da, da, da. It's like, come on, man, let people have their opinions, you know. I mean, as long as somebody's now, if they're just trash talking your movie with no backup, and they're saying, "Oh, it sucks because it sucks," okay, I can understand that being like annoying and being like, "All right, that person's just being an a-hole." But if someone's giving you criticism, you know, it's just criticism, you know. Just I don't know. I just don't understand why people get upset with people's opinions. Hey, how's it going, Chuck? How you doing? I'm chill right now. We're just watching Friday the 13th, hanging out. How you been? Yeah, I know, right? We're already halfway through. That's why I love these movies, man. And you guys want to hear what I just watched before I came on here? The Last Temptation of Christ. And watching this is moving briskly because the last movie I watched, I was over here like, oh man, it's like I've been here for a while. This movie must be almost over. I was a quarter of a way through that movie. It was like an hour and a half, and I was only a quarter of the way through, and I was like, oh, this is one of those movies. I gotta get like comfy, gotta get my popcorn, gotta chill out for a while. I'm gonna be here for a while. But I must say, Last Temptation of Christ, great film. Really enjoyed it. Martin Scorsese, never disappoints. William Dafoe playing Jesus. It's like, wow. Harvey Keitel playing Judas. A great cast to it. Very, very well done film. If you're a Martin Scorsese fan, I mean, you'll love it. It's definitely different, and it's a very unique tale of the Bible and just the story of Jesus and everything. It's very, very different. But this is like nothing compared to what I just sat through. But it wasn't boring. I will give the movie this. It was 2 hours and 49 minutes, whatever, 45 minutes. I didn't get bored once. It slowed down a bit at the end, but I wouldn't say it got bored. It's kind of like the Batman, where it slowed down. I wouldn't say it was bored. Do I think some movies need to be that long? No. I think some movies that drag on like that, while they're not boring, it's noticeable. It's like, okay, false ending, another false ending, you know. So, yeah, I mean, it was a long film, but it was a very, very well done film. Really, really enjoyed it. Oh, awesome, Chuck. Nice. Do you still hang out on JG streams? Because I know he's on Twitch now. But I'm kind of curious if you still hang out on JG streams. He stops by here occasionally, says hi and everything. He's doing pretty good though. You know, I still talk to him and everything. But yeah, I think later on tonight, because I bought a bunch of Criterion films from the sale, and I think later on tonight I'm gonna be watching the Elephant Man, Punches the Elephant Man. So, and I got another long one too from Criterion. You want to hear what this one is? Barry Lyndon. Barry Lyndon's over 3 hours long. So what am I doing to myself? I'm over here like, all right, Last Temptation of Christ done. What's up next? Barry Lyndon, a longer film. I couldn't watch them back to back. I couldn't. That's why I was like, well, I'll just watch The Elephant Man, which is also like over 2 hours long. I'm like, damn. Why can't there just be some, like this? Why can't I watch this movie and be like, oh, I'm 40 minutes in, halfway through. It's getting there. It's almost over. It'll be over eventually. But I don't know, man. Some movies are just like long for no reason. That's cool, man. I just figured I'd ask, man, because I haven't been over there in a while. I was just wondering how everybody was doing. I still talk to JG and everything, and it's nothing against him, but I'm just not on Twitch. I almost said Twitter. I'm not on Twitter either. I left Twitter, but as far as Twitch goes, I'm just not on Twitch, so that's the only reason why I don't watch the streams that much anymore. But he's been growing, man. His channel's been growing. He's been doing a lot of hard work, and it's been paying off. So that's always good. And here we have the makeshift shack of Jason. Did a fairly good job building this shack where he lives out in the middle of the woods. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, for what it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure a homeless guy is like, yeah, I'll take that. Hell yeah, it's my mansion. Yeah, really cool looking, just dilapidated kind of abandoned shack that Jason lives in. Which once again never gets brought. A lot of things in this movie that try to be different, they didn't bring them back in the sequels. For some reason, Part 9 has this weird giant mansion house where, oh, this is where the Voorhees lived. I'm like, in this mansion, this giant house out in the middle of nowhere that never got brung up before and spells Voorhees wrong on the sign. Yeah, I will admit, Part 9 ain't the best written movie. It's very bad script wise and just some of the logic issues. And pretty brutal death scene right here, pretty quick. The hammer to the back of the head. Boom. Ah. Actually, that death scene is extended. There's in this Blu-ray box set, there's VHS footage of the kills. And that death scene is very bloody. You see like blood squirt out the back of his head. And the bed death, the double kill, the death scene of the people in the bed, it's very disturbing. The fact that got cut out of the movie kind of sucks because it's very, very disturbing. And a lot of the people in this movie, they survive. They survive the night because they go out to this bar, and a lot of them, they live because of that decision, which is very like crazy. So you're thinking like, oh, there's so many people here. There's gonna be this giant body count. It's like, well, not really. Most of it is gonna be just this handful of people left at the camp. And Jason is now stalking people. And Jenny is one of the very unique leads in the films in this franchise that looks at Jason and really tries to understand, what happened to him and tried to not really get into the mind of Jason, but, is trying to be understanding, you know. What is this? What does that say? Alcoholism saves the day. Exactly. This chick's like, I'm bored. I'm gonna go skinny dipping by myself. Like, what the fuck? Like, why'd she go out and do that? Nobody's nobody's there, and also it's like really late at night randomly. I'm bored. Let me go skinny dipping. Look at Steve Miner over here doing these really cool looking shots. I mean, right here is a shot I've never even noticed before of the water, the moonlight on it, and panning up to the moon, the full moon. Okay, Steve Miner, all right. Over here trying to put some really good looking shots in your film. Yeah, Jenny's awesome. That's right, Chuck. One of the best final girls. This is like them just totally like, well, we don't have any sex scenes per se, so like, let's just have her go out for skinny dipping for no reason. We gotta get the boobs in there somehow. This guy right here, this freaking guy in his hat, the dude that's like, that's my truck. He kind of reminds me of the lead singer of AC/DC, the new lead singer. I don't know why, but he just the hat and the way he looks, he reminds me of the lead singer from AC/DC. This is Game Boys before Game Boys. I don't even know what games those are. It's like hockey or something like that. Yeah, just so random. Like, why did she just go do that? Like, she got in there, swam for like 2 minutes. Oh, I'm gonna get out now. It's kind of cold. Yeah, no dip. Why did you go out there? What the hell are you thinking? There's this jerk, this asshole guy, stealing this girl's clothes. This is when he gets stuck in that trap. Which this guy's creepy. He's like over here stalking this chick, taking her clothes. Like, creepy, dude. God damn it, Paul and his survival wilderness bullshit. But I also love the old school commercials for these Friday the 13th films. And this one has a great trailer where the tagline is "The body count continues." And it's just going through the different death scenes of the film and counting. Makes me really miss the old school trailers from back in the day of, Friday the 13th, but also other horror films. Just a really good time for some cool trailers. The posters are kind of basic for this movie, but they're okay. My favorite poster for this film is the one where it's the silhouette holding the axe, but within the silhouette is an image of Jason jumping out of the lake and I think grabbing Jenny and pulling her in the water. That's like a cool looking poster for this movie. It's my favorite one. Sir, you are dead. Dead. Got caught hanging around. We really don't know how this chick dies, though. She just kind of like looks at the camera and screams. So you never really learn how she dies. I don't even think they show her body later on. Maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, because she finds this guy's dead body, but they don't even show how she dies. It's guitar band playing. It's like 70s guitar band. Which actually, I think Steve Miner did know this band. And that's why he put them in the film. Stu over here collecting all the empty beer bottles and stuff. But yeah, very interesting right here. Just the fact that the Jenny character is trying to understand why Jason, like his mindset, why would he, try to kill people, or is the story true? Why would he be killing people? She asks questions, and she's really the only lead in the series that does that. Whereas everybody else is just trying to survive, but Jenny's trying to figure out, why Jason is doing what he's doing, or how would Jason be feeling? Is he confused? Is he lost? So it's very interesting that they do that. And there is the question that's on everybody's mind. What happened to Paul? Because they mentioned in part 3 they mentioned the body count, and I do think that the body count includes, if Paul was dead, it would be Paul included in that. but we never hear about how he died, if he died, when he died. None of that. So, still wondering, you know, still wondering what happened with Paul and why he disappeared. But right now, pretty much everybody's just getting knocked off at this camp. And everybody that stayed back at this camp died. And the people who went and partied and drank and, you know, pretty much left, they made it. Everybody must be busy on Friday night. We had some people stop by though. I appreciate that. We had Chuck, we had Trenchy, we had decent amount of people stop by. About to see the awesome double kill of the bed death scene. Spear going through the bed. What is my favorite death of the movie? My favorite kill is definitely Mark's death scene, the machete to the face. It's very, very brutal and just, man, every time I see that death scene, it's just hard to look at because of the way the machete just gets embedded diagonal across his face. That's the most brutal one for me. What's your favorite kill? Yeah, yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It was really, just really brutal and impactful, man. Boom, right to the face. But the bed death scene is pretty brutal as well. I think the bed death scene and Mark's death is the two best kills of the film. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird watching this Friday the 13th film without sound, because I can tell this part of the movie is really being dragged out. It's basically her just trying to find, I don't even know what she's trying to find, a hairbrush or something. And she's just walking around. It's like, without sound, this is like just obviously dragged out. Right here. Here's Mark's death scene. Boom. Ah, dang. What a freaking brutal death scene. Chuck, if you're out there, what's your favorite Jason movie? Oh, you're a part three fan. Okay. Yeah, part three is great. Part three has some great kills, man. Handstand. Oh, that one's brutal. Oh, ouch. Man, just thinking about that one, that is brutal, man. Yeah, the freaking him getting cut from the groin down. That's brutal. The harpoon to the eye, knife to the chest, the fire poker death. There's a lot of good kills in part three. Of course, eventually we will be getting to part three here soon, Chuck. So either next weekend or sometime we'll do a part three stream. Old school car right here. Is it a Beetle? Old school Beetle. Rick. Yeah. Is Rick the guy that gets his freaking head crushed and his eyeball pops out? Because, yeah, that's another one, man. This is the first time that we're seeing Jason. Jason wearing the sack head. What's up, Sean? Yeah, we're still here. We're nearing the end, though. We're at an hour and 5 minutes. So we got about 20 minutes left. But, Sean, what's your favorite Friday the 13th film? As I know, me and Chuck were just talking about part 3. My favorite's part 5, personally. Nice, Sean. Yeah, part 2, you can't go wrong with that. Part 2 is a classic. Paul, there's somebody in this fucking room. Hands down, one of my favorite chase scenes from horror is right here. This finale is very, very well done. Where they're going around, Paul's fighting Jason, Jenny's jumping out of windows, going to cars. Really, really cool ending. And huge credit to Steve Dash for what he went through making this movie. I think he got his finger cut real bad to the point to where he had to go to the hospital and get stitches on it. He would have to get this bag taped to his eye, like around his eye. And so every time he took the mask off, put it back on, and started leaving marks around his eye because it was like rubbing the skin raw. So big shout out to him. He went through a lot to make this movie. Yeah, I agree, man. It's really hard to pick because like the first 6 movies are so good. Then you also got, some people like part 8 a lot, part 7 a lot, part 10 a lot. But it's very rare for a franchise to have like 6 really good movies. Like, and I like part 7. I think part 8's Part 9 I really like. Part 10 I really like. Part 11, aka Freddy vs. Jason's pretty good. The remake's pretty decent. So props to this series. It's got a lot of good movies in it. Jenny, what are you doing? Do not go to the door, Jenny. Go out the window. Yeah, get out of there, Jenny. What are you doing? And right here, I love this chase scene. It's so well filmed. The suspense is there. I think that the Jason movies all have really, really good chase scenes. I don't know. They just always nail them. They're always very, very well done. And right here, Jason stabbing through the rooftop, the pitchfork. Just an awesome scene. And we're getting near the ending of this film where Jenny is able to get in Jason's head and trick him. And right here, boom, nut kick. Jenny just kicked this dude in the nuts. I didn't even remember that. I forgot she did that. Holy crap. She's trying to get to the cars. I'll give her that. She's trying. But it is a shame this movie doesn't have the uncut footage in it, though, because there is some the uncut footage of this film, the scenes that have the gore in them still, they're pretty brutal. They're very brutal. Then here's this scene coming up right here where you wonder, did Jenny pee or did the rat pee? Obviously the rat peed, but it's like some people have said, well, no, Jenny peed. And it's like, why would Jenny pee? But yeah, without that Harry Manfredini score right now, it's so different watching this movie. It is so bizarrely different watching Friday the 13th with no sound. So different. It's like watching Halloween. I'd imagine that watching Halloween and with no sound, it would be very, very just off-putting. It's like, what the fuck? I have been trying to watch the F bomb on this stream for so long, and I just dropped an F bomb. Dang it. I say it a lot, so I'm trying to work on that. But I'm only human. Jason grabbing the most flimsiest chair ever. He's just like, this thing looks like it'll break easily. Let me stand on that. Jason, what are you doing? Think smarter, man. Think smarter. And we are about to be at the 10-minute mark where it'll be the final 10 minutes of the film. Like I said, very fast film. Jason noticed the pee. That rat came along and peed, and Jenny could have gotten away, but nope. The rat says no. Jason, why don't you just stab the bed, my guy? Just stab the bed. Why do you gotta stand on the flimsiest chair ever made? What were you thinking was gonna happen, Jason? You could have just killed her right then and there. You dang fool! You ruined the door! Chainsaw time. Jason's like, oh shit! This lady pulled out a freaking and a chair to the back of the skull. Oh my god, Jason's out for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Jason loses. It's always reminded me of like a wrestling spot. Jenny just smashed the chair over his head. It is all over. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being a part of the stream and being along for the ride. I really appreciate that, guys. It was a lot of fun. A bit more of a slower night. Usually Fridays are a bit more, there's usually a bit more going on, but people are probably busy and everything. But I'm glad that you guys stopped by and chilled and hang out and watched some Jason with me. These are some of my favorite films. And there's Jason's home. We are down to the final 10 minutes. 10 minutes left, guys. And how does Paul find this place? Like, Paul somehow gets out here and finds the shack. I'm like, how did you find this place, Paul? It took Jenny a while to find this place, like a while. But yet Paul's like, here I am. I'm here to save the day. There's Mrs. Voorhees' head. And right here, man, one of the best scenes from the franchise where Jenny wears the sweater, fools Jason. Fun fact, in the video game, that's how you kill Jason. So at least they used it in the video game. But nobody really tried to do this again. The most you get is Corey Feldman. He fools Jason by looking like Jason. So that's the only way he fools Jason. But this has never been brought back again, which is interesting. Who is my favorite final girl of all time? That's hard to pick. My favorite final girl of all time. Probably Neve Campbell, honestly. Neve Campbell, Sydney from the Scream movies. But I also really like Danielle Harris. So part of me wants to say Danielle Harris or Neve Campbell. But out of the Jason movies, my favorite final girl was probably Adrienne King from the first one. I like Pam from part 5, Kimberly Beck from part 4, Amy Steele from this one. Not a big fan of Dana Kimmel. Or is it Dana Kimmel? What's her name? What is her name? I forgot her name in part 3. What I want to say, it's Dana Kimmel. Is it? Someone fact check me here. I don't know. I don't remember that chick's name from part 3, but she was kind of, Part 6. Excuse me. Part 6's final girl's okay. Part 7's is okay. Part 8's is awful. Part 9's is awful. 10's, Freddy vs. Jason had a pretty cool lead character, though. One of my celebrity crushes is from that movie. The lead chick from Freddy vs. Jason. I always had a huge crush on her. She's a very, very beautiful lady. She was also in the Night of the Demons remake. It is Dana Kimmel. Yeah, I was like, is it Dana Kimmel? Chris Higgins? Yeah, I don't know. It's hard though because I would say at least part 1, 2, 4, 5. Freddy versus Jason. Those have like some of my favorite leads. Oh man, that's my shoulder, lady. Why did you do that? Upcoming is another jump scare in the Jason series. Jason flying through the window and scaring the crap out of Jenny and Paul. So, if you guys were to see a new Jason movie, what do you guys want to see? Like, if they made a new Jason movie set in the snow, do you guys want Jason to be human again or zombie? What kind of kills do you think that should happen? Should it be more gory or should it be less gory? Where do you guys want to see the Jason movies pretty much go in the future? Yeah, and like right here, I'm wondering, is this a dream scene? And it can't be a dream scene. It doesn't work that way. Because right here, Amy Steele sees the dog, and I'm like, okay, so if she did fall asleep, at what point did she fall asleep? And when did Paul die? That's very weird. The ending of this movie is very, very weird. Gonna get some sweet tea real quick. What are you gonna do with that thing, Paul? Bop him over the head with the handle? Paul's like, don't worry, Jenny. I have this handle. What are you gonna do with that? Yeah, I agree, Chuck. It would be pretty cool to see human Jason come back. That ain't muffins. That ain't muffins. Muffins died. Oh man, look at Jason in this movie. Long hair, hillbillied out. Jeez. Very different look for Jason. It's like the only time he has this much hair. And that's the question, ladies and gentlemen. Where is Paul? Where, oh, where is Paul? And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Friday the 13th, part 2. I want to give a big shout out to everybody for coming here tonight and hanging out with us. We had Chuck, Sean Blue Digital, we had Trenchy for a little while, we had Sasha was here, Nick Push stopped by, Kelly stopped by, Grande was here, Ian. So thank you all so much for being here and hanging out. Thank you, Chuck and Sean, for chilling with me towards the end and just chilling and watching some Friday the 13th. Thank you guys. But anyways, I will see you guys later. Hopefully tomorrow for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. So I'll see you guys there. Have a good night. And the Explorer of Horror is out. Peace.